Imagine the grandeur of Buckingham Palace on a crisp autumn morning, its golden domes catching the first rays of sunlight. The majestic facade stands in stark contrast to the shadowy corridors of power that have housed British monarchs for centuries. Today, we peel back the layers of history and uncover stories that challenge the polished image of these kings and queens. Within these halls, a secret society thrived during the reign of King Edward VII. Though he was known for his extravagant parties and modernizing reforms, few know that he harbored deep-seated fears about his legitimacy as king due to an alleged illegitimate child. This revelation adds another layer of intrigue to his already controversial legacy. Queen Victoria's rule is often seen as an era of peace and prosperity. However, beneath the surface lay bitter rivalries and political tensions. The enigmatic figure of Sarah, Duchess of York, looms large in this narrative. Her affair with the Prince of Wales during Victoria's reign caused a scandal that threatened to unravel the fabric of the monarchy. The House of Tudor is synonymous with power and drama. Yet one lesser-known fact stands out. Henry VII's first wife, Catherine of Aragon, was not only his consort but also an influential political figure. Her unwavering loyalty to the Catholic Church and her fight for the legitimacy of their daughter, Mary, challenged the king's plans and shaped early Tudor politics. In 1688, the Glorious Revolution saw William of Orange and his wife Mary ascend to the throne. However, their reign was not without controversy. The so-called Monmouth affair saw James Scott, Duke of Monmouth, leading a rebellion against the new monarchs. Despite the failure of this uprising, it highlighted deep divisions within the English nobility and foreshadowed future challenges for the monarchy. The Victorian era is often portrayed as a time of moral integrity and social progress. Yet, one hidden scandal lurks in the shadows. Queen Victoria's third son, Alfred, Prince of Wales, was rumored to have fathered a child with an actress named Lily Langtry. This affair not only tarnished his reputation, but also raised questions about royal ethics during a period marked by strict social norms. The scandal didn't just stop at allegations of infidelity. It also sparked a public debate on royal privilege and the morality of a marriage in such close social circles. The affair with Lily Langtry was particularly damaging because Langtry, while known for her beauty and talent, came from a less aristocratic background, further exacerbating class tensions. In 1893, Queen Victoria was still alive, but her influence began to wane. King Edward VII continued his public image as a playboy, even though he faced increasing pressure from politicians and the press to step up his responsibilities. This tension created an interesting dynamic where personal life and political duties were often at odds. The affair also had significant consequences for the monarchy. It led to a reevaluation of royal ethics and behavior. The public increasingly demanded transparency and accountability from their leaders, challenging the traditional notion that royals were above scrutiny. This shift marked the beginning of modern monarchical practices. King Edward VII's relationship with Lily Langtry wasn't just about personal pleasure. It was also a reflection of the changing social landscape. The rise of journalism meant that private lives were increasingly becoming public knowledge, and this scandal highlighted how vulnerable even the highest in society could be to public scrutiny. Despite the personal nature of the affair, it had far-reaching political implications. The king's relationships were seen as a test of his fitness to rule, and any failure could impact his ability to maintain authority. The scandal thus served as a critical moment in understanding how personal lives intersect with public expectations. In the end, while King Edward VII managed to keep his marriage intact and his position secure, the affair with Lily Langtry left an indelible mark on British history. It not only reshaped perceptions of royal behavior, but also set a precedent for future monarchs, reminding them that their private lives were no longer entirely separate from public life. The influence of Henry VII's personal life extended far beyond the Tudor dynasty. His numerous marriages and tumultuous relationships shaped not only his reign, but also British law and religious practices. The king's controversial decision to break from Rome led to a schism that would last for centuries, influencing the relationship between church and state in England. Lesser known is the fact that Henry's personal life also had a significant impact on the economy. His extravagant spending and costly wars drained the royal coffers, leading to fiscal crises that affected the entire kingdom. This financial strain ultimately contributed to the fall of his queen, Anne Boleyn, and marked the beginning of England's long-standing reliance on taxation. The scandal surrounding Charles II and his notorious courtiers is often overshadowed by tales of war and conquest. His infamous Merry Monarch nickname masked a reign filled with debauchery, religious conflict, and political intrigue. The king's affair with the Catholic Duchess of Cleveland not only tarnished his reputation, but also stirred up anti-Catholic sentiment across England. George III's mental health crisis was another hidden scandal that deeply affected his reign. The king was diagnosed with porphyria, an illness that caused him to experience periods of mania and delusion, leading to erratic behavior and public scrutiny. Despite these episodes, he maintained his position on the throne for over 59 years, during which he faced multiple wars and rebellions. Victoria's private life was plagued by personal losses and health struggles. The Queen suffered from various illnesses throughout her reign, which sometimes forced her to abdicate temporary power in favor of her eldest son. Her marriage to Prince Albert also faced its own challenges, including his untimely death, which left the nation in mourning and the young Edward in a position of responsibility at an early age. Edward VII's reign was short-lived but controversial. His decision to abdicate in 1936 over his love for Wallis Simpson was unprecedented and created a constitutional crisis. The affair and subsequent scandal were not only personal but also political, as they raised questions about royal duties and the evolving nature of the monarchy. Edward's brief rule set a precedent that would influence future monarchs to consider their public image more carefully. With Edward's reign drawing to an end, his successor, George V, faced a complex challenge. He had to navigate both the expectations set by Edward's rule and the shifting public sentiment towards royalty. George V's approach was pragmatic. He worked tirelessly to connect with his subjects through charity work and public appearances. His dedication began to mend the relationship between the monarchy and the British people. The early 20th century saw significant changes for the British monarchy. George V introduced the first royal Christmas broadcast to millions of listeners across the empire. This was a groundbreaking moment, marking a shift from isolation to public engagement. The voice of the king resonated through the airwaves, uniting the far-flung corners of the empire in a way that had never been seen before. As we move into the interwar period, another monarch emerges with his own set of challenges. Edward VII's decision to abdicate in 1936 was shocking, but it also opened up new possibilities for the monarchy. His brother, George VI, had a humble and grounded approach, embodying the qualities that resonated with a nation reeling from economic hardship. His reign saw the monarchy become more accessible and relevant. During World War II, Queen Elizabeth II was just 14 years old. Her resilience during the Blitz became legendary as she courageously visited bomb-damaged areas and comforted her subjects. The future queen's actions were pivotal in maintaining morale, proving that even in times of crisis, the monarchy could still play a crucial role. This period solidified her reputation as the epitome of Britishness. In recent times, the monarchy has continued to adapt. The abdication of Charles in favor of his son William was a significant moment that highlighted how deeply rooted the concept of service and duty is within the family. William's ascension to the throne brought with it new ideas about modern monarchy, balancing tradition with contemporary values. This transition signifies the ongoing evolution of British royalty. As we reflect on these stories, it becomes clear that the monarchy has not just survived, but thrived through adaptation. From Edward's initial foray into public engagement to William's embrace of modernity, each monarch's legacy is shaped by their unique experiences and the challenges they faced. The future of the British monarchy continues to unfold, with new kings and queens who will carry on this rich tradition of service and duty.